Final Fantasy VII came out in 1997 and is one of the best games I've ever played. It's in the top 10 list of one of the greatest games of all time in my opinion, and there's so much depth to it that I never understood as a kid, which makes replaying it every few years a unique experience every time. There are strong themes of environmentalism, classism, the importance of friendship, the glaring issues with toxic masculinity. It touches on mental illness and self-acceptance. So yeah, understandable I didn't quite get it in 2nd grade. I just liked the swords, gun arms, cool characters, and monsters. However, this JRPG's classic protagonist, Cloud Strife, is wildly misunderstood. Well, let's try to clear that up. This is 100 Bad Videos. At the start of the game, Cloud posits himself as a former first-class soldier turned mercenary. If you've never played the game, a soldier is a genetically engineered super soldier made by the evil Shinra Electric Power Company, a mega corporation that controls every facet of the world of Final Fantasy VII, including the government. Big corporations controlling everything? Man, I'd hate to live in that world. Cloud is hired by an eco-terrorist group called Avalanche to blow up a Mako reactor. Mako is the lifeblood of the planet and is responsible for keeping everything alive in a rebirth cycle. Shinra sucks it out of the ground, burning it up and disrupting this cycle. They also infuse their soldiers with Mako energy to give them their abilities and their distinctive blue eyes with a slight glow behind them called Mako eyes. This procedure is done by the incredibly creepy Professor Hojo, the man who makes you feel like you need an adult.
I need an adult.
I am an adult.
Most people judge Cloud's entire character based on the opening section of the game, mostly because he's a giant asshole. He's rude. He's uncaring about the planet and is genuinely unconcerned for all those around him, including his childhood friend Tifa, who he hasn't seen in 5 years. In this opening act, Cloud pretends like all he cares about is money and he puts on a rude facade because he believes that's how a man is supposed to act. However, the cracks in his facade form pretty early on. First by stopping to save Jessie, then when he goes to leave Tifa, she reminds him of the childhood promise that he made to always be there for her and to come back to protect her, a promise he's now breaking by trying to leave over money. However, he changes his mind and goes on one last mission for her. What could go wrong? On this mission, he comes face to face, or face to hologram if you're playing the remake, with President Shinra, who has no idea who Cloud is, which is strange because there's only a handful of first-class soldiers, but it's easy to dismiss because this game doesn't bring a whole lot of attention to how thin the roster of first-class soldiers are until a prequel game. The player naturally writes this off as the billionaire rich guy not caring about his employees. After the opening act of the game, we find out that Cloud and Tifa survived the destruction of their hometown and the deaths of their friends and family at the hands of the game's antagonist, Sephiroth. Cloud recounts the tale to the rest of the party as Tifa listens, occasionally pausing at Cloud's retelling, presumably from the player's perspective, being uncomfortable at him sharing their childhood trauma with the group. Cloud tells the party about returning to Nibelheim 5 years ago with Sephiroth to investigate a local Mako reactor. In their time at Nibelheim, Sephiroth digs into his origins and locks himself into a library, slowly succumbing to madness. Sephiroth emerges from the library to burn the town down and to kill everyone there, including Cloud and Tifa's remaining family. Cloud's story is what drives the plot forward. We watch him grow from an aloof jerk to a hero with a heart of gold. Until it's revealed that Cloud was an unreliable narrator the whole time. If you don't know what an unreliable narrator is, it's a character whose telling of the story is not completely credible or true due to problems with the character's mental state or maturity. Cloud suffers from both of these issues. I know Aerith's death is the big twist in Final Fantasy VII that everyone talks about, but this one is arguably more surprising as time passes. And to be honest, everyone knows this twist. Sephiroth kills Aerith. It's the video game spoiler everyone knows. Even if they haven't played the game, it's just widely known. It's the Bruce Willis was a ghost the whole time, Darth Vader is Luke's father, and Sephiroth kills Aerith. But this reveal and how well it was done throughout the game is impactful to this day, and still hits me every time. President Shinra didn't know who Cloud was, despite Soldier being a small pool of elite warriors. Every pause Tifa takes when Cloud talks about their past has new context. It's a twist that makes you see almost the entire game in a new light when you replay it. Cloud might even be a genetically engineered clone of the real Cloud, who Hojo claims died. Cloud falls into the life stream and is lost. The party searches all over for him, and what they find is that Cloud went completely catatonic. The shock of finding out all of his memories might be a lie, combined with severe Mako poisoning, just made him go into a coma. This part of the game is hard to watch. The character we played for the better part of 30 to 40 hours at this point just reduced to an incoherent mess. Tifa makes the decision to stay behind with Cloud and take care of him while the team tries to stop Sephiroth's plan. What could go wrong?
I bet they're doing just fine on their own.
Healers down! Need a rest!
Out of mana!
Meanwhile!
Through life stream magic, I guess, Tifa is able to enter Cloud's mind when they fall into the life stream together. They work through his memories to separate what's real and what memories were manufactured due to Cloud's trauma. Earlier in the game, when Cloud was saying things that didn't quite line up, Tifa tried to protect him by just agreeing with him. Here, she guides him through his trauma by gently saying, "No, Cloud," when he's remembering something wrong. Cloud reveals that he's scared he's not the real Cloud. Tifa reassures him that Hojo is wrong and that he is in fact the real Cloud. Due to them being childhood friends, Tifa tells him, well, some of his information's wrong. A lot of it's right. They go through their shared memories and essentially compare notes. Tifa tells Cloud that it hasn't been 5 years since they last saw each other. It was 7. At this point in the game, it's revealed that Cloud only joined Soldier to impress Tifa and the others back home. He informs Tifa that they were never friends when they were kids, despite them being from the same town. Tifa and her group of friends ignored Cloud, and he thought that they were stupid and immature, so he avoided them too. Most of Cloud and Tifa's adult friendship is a result from shared trauma, which is an actual real-world phenomenon that when two people go through a shared trauma together intensifies their relationship, making them hop it to an unnatural level that wouldn't have occurred otherwise. When Tifa's mother died at a young age, this made her and her friends do something reckless out of grief. They went to climb Mount Nibble, believing a local urban legend that this would save her mother. And as we saw earlier in the game, that mountain is filled with powerful monsters, so it was a dangerous place for a bunch of kids to go. When Cloud heard this, he went to chase after her, encountering her friends that got scared and ran away. He tried to save her, but it was too late. Cloud got slightly hurt but recovered pretty quickly. Tifa almost died. She enters a 7-day coma, which her father blamed Cloud for, thinking it was his idea that he dared her to climb the mountain. And Cloud also blamed himself, thinking he was too weak, and that if he was stronger, he could have kept Tifa safe, that he could have stopped this from happening. This was the inciting incident that inspired him to join Soldier, and here's where Cloud met Zack. Zack Fair was a first-class soldier, and everything Cloud wanted to be. Cloud wasn't strong enough to make it into the soldier program. He just became a regular Shinra grunt, literally the first enemies you cut down at the start of the game. Working for Shinra, Zack and Cloud slowly became best friends. Cloud reveals that it actually was 5 years since him and Tifa last saw each other, but he was so embarrassed that he didn't reach his goals, so he kept his mask on the entire time and intentionally avoided talking to her. The soldier who came to Nibelheim with Sephiroth was Zack, not Cloud. But Cloud was still there. During the Nibelheim incident, Zack and Sephiroth fight each other to a near standstill, with Sephiroth just barely limping out of there. Cloud runs up to his best friend asking what he can do. Zack wearily hands him his sword, telling him to finish off Sephiroth. While running to fight Sephiroth, Cloud finds Tifa wounded and injured, and right before she passes out, Tifa notes that Cloud kept his promise. He came back. In a show of strength and heroism, Cloud stops Sephiroth and manages to kill him, getting grievously wounded in the process. Cloud lifts Sephiroth up by his own sword and throws him into the Mako below. Hojo shows up and abducts Cloud and Zack to experiment on them. This is where Cloud undergoes the soldier process and gains the signature Mako eyes. It took Zack years to work up the strength to escape to Midgar with a recovering Cloud who could barely move. On their way to the city, Zack sacrifices himself so that Cloud can live, telling him, "You'll be my living legacy." Due to a combo of trauma, PTSD, and genetic experimentation, Cloud's memories get extremely muddled. He tries to convince himself that he's emotionally distant from most situations due to losing his best friend. This became his coping mechanism. He took on Zack's memories as his own, because Zack was everything he wanted to be. I don't believe Cloud did this intentionally, as the game goes out of its way to show you that up until this point he legitimately believed several of Zack's stories were his own memories. Tifa even explains, "It's weird because you knew things that you shouldn't, and you didn't know things that you should have." But thanks to Tifa's help, he accepts his past as it is. Even though he failed and washed out of Soldier, he was still the one to beat Sephiroth all those years ago. He's Cloud Strife, and he's going to do it again.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
Good to see you, Cloud.
After the world's most intense therapy session with Tifa, Cloud emerges a new man. He's not as brash and outspoken as he used to be, but caring and empathetic. He's awkward and funnier as he opens up to his friends about his insecurities as a form of leadership. When Yuffie complains about motion sickness, he mentions that he used to get it too, and gives her advice on how to overcome it. He gives orders like "let's mosey." While Sid pokes fun at Cloud's newfound attitude, it doesn't bother him. He's confident in who he is, and he became a hero in his own right. The game makes a point to show you that as far as Cloud came, he didn't get there alone. He only accepted who he was and overcame his shortcoming with the help of his friends. I think that's a lesson we can all take with us. No man is an island. We all need others to survive. There's nothing wrong with asking for help if you need it. In fact, the game shows that refusing to let others in can lead to disastrous consequences. Every character in Final Fantasy VII overcomes their personal issues over the course of the story, but they all do it together. Tifa overcomes losing her home and family by finding a new one in Cloud and the others. Bear overcomes losing his friend and his home by raising his daughter and saving the refugees of his old town. Red 13 comes to terms with his father's death by finding out he died a hero. Sid accomplished his failed dream by trying again and becoming the first man in space. Vincent avenged his lost love and made peace with her. Yuffie makes peace with her father, accepting that had he continued his war, their hometown would have been wiped out like Barrett's. Cait Sith turned against Shinra and stopped letting himself be controlled by them. And Aerith sacrificed herself to save the world. But none of them had to overcome their issues alone, and neither do any of us. This world can be a pretty scary and brutal place. There are times where you might feel alone, but you have to remember that you're not. Don't hesitate to reach out to friends, family, or any of your loved ones for support, and don't be afraid to seek out professional help if you need it. You can make this world a better place, and we can do that together. As always, thank you so much for watching. Sorry this one was a little more heavy than the last two, but I didn't want to undercut a serious topic by peppering in too many jokes. If you liked this video, please like and discuss down below what videos you want to see next or what series you want to see me look into. Please subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't already so you don't miss a video.